I'd like to share with you a story tonight that I love to think about at High Holiday time when it's almost High Holidays, because it always opens up a new avenue for me to imagine the way that we prepare and think about what it is we're about to do, because we have a few weeks left to think about that. So first the story, and then this year's lesson from it. So the story goes that there was once a town that had never burned down, which was a really big deal at this time because they had fires like everywhere else because all the houses are made of wood and they're really close together, and so it's easy for fires to start in these little towns a long time ago. But this town never had a fire that consumed the town. And this was because they had a really good guard, a really good watchman, who sounded an alarm, a bugle, every time a fire started. And when the alarm was heard, the people in the town would form a human chain and pass buckets, one to the next, so that they could put out the fire wherever it was, dousing it with water until it was out. So it once happened that there was a young person, maybe someone as young as those little girls on the second row, or maybe a little bit older, it's hard to say, but a young person who was standing on the outside of the town, so not in the middle, but on the outside, and she heard the bugle. And she asked this older woman who was standing next to her, "What does that mean? When I hear that bugle, what does that mean?" And the woman said, "Whenever we have a fire in our town, we sound the bugle, and the fire is quickly put out." And so this young person bought her own bugle, and she went back to her little town. And when a fire started, she sounded the bugle and said, "Don't worry, I've sounded the bugle. This will put out the fire." Well, of course, did it put out the fire? It did not. It didn't put out the fire. The fire grew and grew, and everyone began to understand what she had missed, what she didn't know. The bugle is only the alarm. The sound moves people to action. All that matters, really, is what people do after they hear the sound, after they hear that blast. To actually put out the fire, it's necessary to approach the flames and to confront them and to respond to them directly and to do so in partnership with others. That's why that town had never burned down. So we are entering a season when we have to direct our attention to all the fires that are around us. Sometimes our relationships, we could describe them as fires. Sometimes we've hurt people or they've hurt us and we're not on good terms with them. That could be a fire in our life. Maybe our priorities could be one of the fires that we need to approach. Maybe we're in a routine, and that routine isn't really the way we want to live, and it's causing us to miss things that we don't want to miss. Or maybe our health is one of those fires. Maybe we're not taking care of ourselves. Maybe we're not sleeping enough. Maybe we're eating the wrong things. Maybe we don't find enough time to stretch out our bodies or to go to the doctor. That could be one of the fires. Maybe it's our community that's a fire. Maybe there's pain around us, people who are hurting who we haven't responded to, even though we hear them. Or maybe there are people who are hurting who we haven't responded to because we haven't even seen them. That could also be a fire. So the shofar here, this is mine. They're all different shapes and sizes, but this is my shofar. The shofar that we're going to blow, that we're blowing every day during the month of Elul, and then we'll have a big blast on Rosh Hashanah. The apples and honey that we like to eat, all those prayers that we're going to say, whether you're in here in the main sanctuary or in our tot service or in our youth service for our elementary school kids or in our high school service, we're all going to say those prayers. The prayers that we say, they're like that bugle. They are the alarm, but they don't put out the fires. Just coming to temple and hearing them doesn't put out the fires. It's only what we do after we hear them that will make us better. Do we form a human chain of goodness and love in our lives and confront the flames with courage and with humility for their power? Or do we simply sit back and watch it burn? Our Torah portion this week has one of my very favorite verses. I think most rabbis and most people really love this verse. And actually, this is not that important to know, but this is the first Torah portion where I got to give a Devar Torah at Temple Israel 9 years ago. This Torah portion has the verse that you may have heard, Tzedek, Tzedek, Tirdof. Justice, justice shall you pursue if you want to thrive and occupy the land that you want to live in. The idea of this verse is that justice and righteousness and peace and goodness do not just happen. Fires don't just go out until they've consumed everything that's good and life-giving around them. Rather, to occupy our space, to live our best lives, we have to be in pursuit of these things. We have to run after them. We have to chase them down and confront them. We have to be close enough to the flames to feel the heat and to feel the sense of urgency that you feel when you're near a fire, to feel compelled to act. So, firstly tonight, as I close, I want to say thank you, God, for all those bugles, all those shofars, all the alarms that go off in our lives that wake us up to things that are not quite right. Thank God for them. They are gifts. Also, thank God for the support we have in our community, in our families, and in our world as we confront what's on fire. We never, ever have to do it alone. And all of those supporting presences give us courage. And finally, thank God for the gift of more time. Another year, another month, another week, another day to put out the flames. May we spend this month of Elul that we are in now, the month before Rosh Hashanah, doing the hard work of spotting what is on fire, what needs fixing, and letting each shofar blast of each day motivate us to do that work that needs to be done so that this year, this Hebrew year that's about to start, anybody know what it is? 5,778. Yes. So may the year if we do all those things, we hope and pray 5,778, which is the year that's about to start, will be a year of more sweetness and more goodness and more peace and more justice than the year is now ending. That is our prayer each and every time we celebrate the new year. May this year be better than last as we continue our pursuit of justice and light. So, an almost Shana Tova, definitely a Shabbat Shalom, and looking forward to working with you as we pursue that bright future. Amen. Thanks, Allegra.